A failure to report, an ongoing investigation into the state's lack of enforcement of a racial profiling law. The law requires every law enforcement agency in Texas to report annual traffic stop data to the state and to analyze the data to find indicators of disparate treatment among races. Last week, we revealed the state's never collected those analyses. Now, investigator Jody Barr is looking into what happens when someone files a racial profiling complaint in Texas.
Well, Josh, what we found was because of the way the state defines racial profiling, proving it is almost impossible.
This cop is sitting outside my house for no reason.
Brianna Nunn stood in her front yard pointing a cell phone at a Buda police officer last May.
I just want to document the fact that this police officer has been following me home. I'm African American. My name is Brianna Nunn. And even though we've done nothing wrong, this cop is following us. I was standing here next to my car, and he was right here at this corner next to the stop sign, just sitting right there.
Nunn says for half an hour, the officer sat and watched her. He never left his patrol car. Nunn says she had her kids in the car headed for home when she saw the officer behind her. She called 911 to find out what was going on.
I felt like he was intimidating me. I know for a fact that he was able to see that I was black. And I know for a fact that he knew that that scared me. And I know for a fact that he knew that I called his sergeant about it, and he chose to still sit there. What else besides intimidating are you trying to accomplish?
Nunn filed a complaint with Buda Police. 2 weeks later, she says the department called her in to say the officer reported she failed to signal a turn before she got to a stop sign. Police records show the officer ran her tag, and it came back to an Austin address. Nunn says the department told her the officer got suspicious, thinking she might be a burglary suspect. The internal investigation found the officer didn't violate policy or the law.
I felt like even after 30 to 40 minutes of thinking that, oh, well, I'm going to sit here just in case she doesn't live here. Why would you not come over here and check?
The chief responded to us in an email saying he ordered an internal investigation that did not reveal any evidence of racial profiling, as Ms. Nunn alleged. Each year, racial profiling complaints are made against Texas law enforcement. Records we obtained show departments investigate those complaints, which are rarely sustained. For example, DPS, the state's largest agency, had 24 complaints in all of 2019. DPS reported it couldn't sustain a single one. In 2017 and 2018, the Williamson County Sheriff's Office received 2 complaints. Internal Affairs investigations found no wrongdoing. Cedar Park Police had 3 complaints in all of 2018. All 3 were unsustained, but the department told us it was an educational opportunity for a new officer with regard to how we question people appropriately.
It's exceedingly difficult to know whether or not a police officer harbored a racial animus toward a particular class of people prior to the stop.
That's the legal standard Texas investigators have to meet to prove a case of racial profiling, according to Dr. Brian Withrow, a Texas State University racial profiling expert.
There are no tests that can really look into the heart of a police officer and tell whether or not they harbor discriminatory attitudes or prejudicial attitudes to one particular race or another. You really have to look more deeply at what over time that police officer actually does.
Brianna Nunn had no way to prove that either. Still, she says she wanted the world to see what she went through.
I want you to see how just in this small instance, I could have lost my life and I did nothing wrong. I literally just drove my children home.
Now, Jody, the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement is supposed to collect a list of claims about racial profiling against a department. Are they doing that?
Well, Josh, we asked T-Cole for those records, but the agency could not provide any such list. Now, you remember last week we reported the Texas legislature is currently looking at T-Cole to figure out what it can do to force this agency to make sure all Texas law enforcement agencies are following the state's racial profiling reporting law. And if racial profiling is happening, those agencies and the state can find it and stop it.
All right, Jody, thank you very much. Online now, catch up on our complete investigative coverage. Just look for this story in the Texas Politics section of this station's website. As Governor Abbott prepares to present his priorities in his State of the State address, Texas Democrats raise questions about his leadership.
Texas has one of the worst COVID outbreaks in the country. 35,000 Texans have lost their lives. So many people are still out of work because we didn't have that strong leadership.
Up next, a different vision in these challenging times about the path forward for Texas.